Okay, so go ahead and talk. Now, pretend like I'll ask you the question again. Anthony, tell me about the Italian migration into Sunnyside.
Well, I want you all to know about here in Lake Village, Arkansas, down in the southeast corner of Arkansas in the Mississippi Delta. A little over 125 years ago in 1895, a New York financier acquired the magnificent Sunnyside plantation here in Lake Village, Arkansas. It was one of the largest plantations in the entire South. It was the largest in Arkansas and Mississippi. Now the big problem is that after the Civil War, the labor force was decimated with all the slave laborers moving up north. So the financier, Austin Corbin, came up with this great plan. Some called it a scheme to replenish his labor force with Italian laborers. So he knew a mayor of Rome called Prince Ruspoli, and together they put together a scheme or a plan to populate an Italian colony right here in Lake Village, Arkansas. So in 1895, the first wave of Italians came in. Over 500 Italians were settled here in little houses on the plantation called Sunnyside. And they arrived in November of 1895. Shortly thereafter, roughly a year later, another wave came in. And we had, after 2 years, in 1897, we had 1,000 settlers right here in Lake Village. Before that, there were only 40 Italians in the entire state of Arkansas. So in no time whatsoever, we had 1,000 settlers right here. And so from 1895 to roughly 1923, when immigration was cut off in the United States, this settlement here flourished and thrived. And so what we're doing here today is that the tradition, which began in 1896, of serving pasta and spaghetti dinners and meatballs to the community, began in 1896 at St. Anthony's Church right here in Lake Village, Arkansas. In roughly 1910, St. Anthony's Church merged with Our Lady of the Lake Catholic Church. And with that merger, this became known as Our Lady of the Lake Parish Annual Spaghetti Dinner. So that's why we say this began 111 years ago, but actually it began 126 years ago with St. Anthony's Church, and it was picked up when the two churches combined and became Our Lady of the Lake Church. So everything that is made here, the pasta from scratch, the meatballs from scratch, our fabulous lemon desserts, lemon cake desserts are amazing, our salads. It is an amazing dinner and tradition. We have people come from all over the South for this day. And today, here in 2021, March 7th, 2021, we had a sellout again. No pasta left, no salads left, no desserts, no meatballs. It's all gone. And it's just a great testament to the tradition here. We thank God for His great providence for this Italian community and the fact that it is still going strong all these years. And we have people from age 6 years old to 94 years old that volunteered in making of this pasta. I had so many veterans slapping my hand, telling me I was doing it wrong, that I got to roll the meatballs better, that the kneading of the breads were done incorrectly. So we have the greatest quality control, and you can bet that the people who ate here were fully satisfied.
And Anthony, there's also a museum.
Yes, yes. Roughly 30 years ago, my mother, Elizabeth Olivi Borgononi, founded the museum here, the Italians of Sunnyside and Church Museum, and we have one of the largest church museums in the state of Arkansas. In fact, the bishop said, and I'm quoting him, we have the finest museum in the South, and especially here in Arkansas. So we're very proud of it, and you can see the entire history of the Sunnyside Italians right here in our museum from 1895 to the present day. And what's interesting, the descendants of the Italians of Sunnyside, there are over 1 million descendants distributed across the United States in all 50 states that originated right here in this little hometown of Lake Village, Arkansas.
So the plantation was behind you?
Yes, the plantation was on the other side of the lake, and it was nestled in between this 18-mile lake, Lake Chico, which is the largest natural oxbow lake in the United States, in America. This is the largest lake you see behind us in the United States, and it is nestled between this lake and the Mississippi River. So it was almost like surrounded by waters. And the plantation, because of the land being fed by these waters, the soil was very rich, very productive, and the state of Arkansas, back when the settlement, the colony was established, was the #2 producer of cotton in the United States.
And I understand there was some issues a little bit with peonage. Do you want to say anything about Mary Grace Quackenboss?
Yes, well, that's a great question, Charles, about the history here. Just like many immigrants that came to the United States, they had to battle through some friction and some unfavorable circumstances. And right here, what occurred in the labor force, the Italians, were taking great advantage of. So the Sunnyside Plantation developed their own currency to control the Italian colony. And the Italians, when they were here and in their homes, they were provided small cottages, small homes, but everything that was provided for them was from the company store on a debt system. So if the Italian laborers were given advancements with company money, not American money, but company money, and then they accrued a debt. So with that debt, the plantation owners controlled them. So when the harvest would come in each season, they would say, oh, you borrowed several $1,000s, and now your harvest is only hundreds of dollars. So immediately they were indebted to the plantation because they were charging the Italians exorbitant prices for their goods and their seeds and their fertilizer, while reimbursing them only about a third of what the market price was. So because of that system, which was called a peonage system, the Italian colonists was indebted to the plantation owners. So became a form of slavery. So because of that slavery, during the 1906, 1907, the Teddy Roosevelt administration sent down a special investigator from the U.S. Attorney General to investigate the peonage and the horrible atrocities that were inflicted upon the Italian settlement here. And we have amazing books that document this history. And we have a new book coming out in the next few months, the second edition of the Italians of Sunnyside history, and that will be out in a few months, and it will explain that amazing history and all of the great suffering that our ancestors had to endure, but they endured it, they thrived, and became great American citizens, and very proud of our heritage.
So this is also a chance to keep our heritage alive.
Oh yes, oh yes. Our heritage here, the tradition is now 126 years long, and we believe that this heritage, we have put together a new foundation called the Italians of Sunnyside Foundation, which people contribute to out of their generosity to keep this legacy going, and we hope it'll be around for the next 125 years.
That's great, and I'm going to pretend like let it pass.
Thank you.
And you keep it on, keep it on.
Okay.
All right, Anthony, that is great, and I love what you guys are doing to keep your heritage alive, because so much of what those early years, we respect our ancestors so much, but it's really hard as the generations go and Italians have assimilated into America to let the younger generation know the history, the true history. So it's just great what you guys are doing here. I want to thank you for being on the show. And if someone wants to know more, is there a website?
Yes, there is. That website is the ItaliansofSunnyside.org. You can contact, you can go through there, you'll see contact numbers, you can find out more information about the history, and you can contact us here. So we'll be happy for anyone to contact us, and we'll provide them all the information and fill their curiosity to the full.
Great. Anthony, I was here for the pasta feed this year, and it is fabulous. I really want to encourage anybody. Lake Village, you can see, is a beautiful place and a great spot of the country. So if you're in the, make it part to be in this neighborhood and come enjoy a really great Italian heritage. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Charles. Remember, it's the first Sunday in March every year.
And stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of Celebrating Culture. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. That was awesome.
Whoa. I'm terrible on film.
No, you are. You are great.